Why hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Car Juice. Today I'm going to be giving you guys the squeeze on the 2024 Audi RSQ8. This thing is a beefy boy. We're a beefy girl, you know, we don't discriminate here at Car Juice, but this thing is just an insane car. After losing a myriad of sales to people switching out and deciding to go with the Q8, I've always wondered what the hype was all about. So this model is the 591 horsepower behemoth, top of the line, best vehicle that Audi makes basically in an SUV format. This particular model is equipped in Nardo gray paint. It also has the stunning black optics package, giving it all of those black features there on the front. It also enables this car to get the upgraded 23-inch wheels, which are extremely wide, by the way. We've got 295 35 by 23s on the front. That is a ton. That's 30 centimeters, and that's full square setup. So you got 295 millimeter tires on the front and 295 millimeter tires on the back. The RSQ8 is the range-topping model. It was redesigned for the 2025 model year, so you might wonder, why would I pick up a pre-owned RSQ8 whenever I could go and get the 25 with the performance model with an additional 40 horsepower or 631 horsepower? The reason being is you can save $15,000 off of what this thing was brand new, which is only $2,000 less than a base model RSQ8 is in 2025. So there are a lot of extra benefits from that. So if you want to look the part and don't mind going with the slightly less redesigned look of the RSQ8, there's really no reason to not at least consider this one. This thing is the absolute, probably one of the best cars, best SUVs that there is, that is currently being produced today. Competes with the likes of the BMW X6 and the Alpina XB7, as well as the Mercedes GLC 63 Grand Coupe, or not Grand Coupe? I don't know. Mercedes is weird with how they do everything. Underneath the hood, you have a massive V8, again, making 591 horsepower, propelling this thing 260 in 3.2 seconds. That's very fast for a thing that's this big. Also, something that's kind of cool about this car that you can't say about some of its competitors is that this thing is actually sold in a different skin, as if it were the Lamborghini Urus. The Lamborghini Urus, you know, is $100,000 more than this thing, but it doesn't have the same Audi logos and Audi badges. But this is basically a Lamborghini Urus, which is, you know, only 0.1 seconds faster to 60. So, I mean, why not at least consider it? I'm gonna go ahead and get you guys a quick bit of a cold start here, and then we'll continue talking about some of my other favorite things on this car. So, unfortunately, this thing does appear to be soft limited whenever you are not in gear, so it would not go above 3,500 RPMs, which is very unfortunate, but I mean, it does sound pretty good regardless. That cold start is nice and juicy, by the way. This thing is a pretty sweet car. There are some other cool options. This thing was $135,000 whenever it was brand new, and is currently for sale for $120,000, meaning that this thing has about $15,000 worth of options. Two of these are on the exterior. So one of them, my absolute favorite thing about Audis, is their Matrix LED headlights and taillights. They are animated and they are just so cool. They're probably cooler than pretty much any taillights or headlights that they make in the industry. I absolutely just love Audi's headlights. They are sweet. And then also this one has the red brake option. That it goes with the interior, which has the RS red package, which was $1,500, which, you know, which is a lot of money, and to me doesn't seem like it gives you that many things back for the exchange of that large amount of funds. But basically what that RS red package does is it gets you all of these little red accents along the side of the shifter, or not the side of the shifter, the side of the transmission tunnel. So all of this is Alcantara, and then you also get the red stitching. You also get red stitching on your seat belts, red stitching in between the seats. Audi also has just the best seats. Look at this quilting, oh, and all of the ventilation and the perforation. Like, golly, it just makes you want to take a nap and just crawl up and die in these seats. These seats are very cool, by the way. So this front portion here doesn't have a crumb catcher like we have in the BMW X6. This portion basically can roll out similar to how Mercedes does it. This will kind of just project forward. I had to put it into short guy mode as I am only 5'8" in the front seat, but this is what it looks like whenever it's fully extended. This is what it looks like whenever your legs barely reach the gas and brake pedal. So yeah, we're not going to talk about that too much. That's perfectly fine. Also, with the RS package, you get more cool stuff. You get the red leather all along the door card. Underneath the door card here, you will find your Bang & Olufsen sound system. Bang & Olufsen sounds absolutely incredible. Little RSQ8 badge there on the door, Quattro badge there on the dash, and then also you're gonna get a Alcantara wrapped RS steering wheel. Looks absolutely incredible. This car also has the executive package, which is going to get you dual paned acoustic laminated glass, making this thing just an absolute dream to drive around. It's very, very quiet on the interstate as well as around town. Just as you know, this is a top of the line kind of car. Speaking of kind of the doors, we are going to go ahead and hop in the back seat and test out the rear legroom, because as you guys know, cargo road, but cargo space, very important, especially whenever you're getting in an SUV. You probably have children, so you're going to want to be able to move them around. So with that seat moved relatively far back, I think it's about as far back as it goes, and a 5'8" person sitting in the rear of the car, you've got probably about 3 inches or so of rear legroom. And then moving around to the headroom area, probably got another 3 or so inches with a 5'8" person in the rear. If we were to move up to a 5'8" driving position and we were to sit behind them, we have just gobs of space, probably 8-9 inches or so of rear legroom. So that's absolutely not going to be a problem whatsoever. And then obviously, headroom would remain unchanged. In the back seat, we also do have some window curtains that can very quickly pop out of the back thing. I do have to have the card. We do have the rear window curtains that can just pop out of the door card here. I have to have the car on in order to put those up, but they would just go right in front of there, and you have 2 switches to control that. And then also, just like whenever I reviewed the S8, you do have the Pimpmobile covers so that you can hide your ashtray and your ashes in the backseat of the car. Very cool Audi things that just Audi just does that are just good. More Alcantara on the back of the center console, and then you have a full panoramic sunroof that reaches to the back seat. Not quite as far as what it reaches on the X6, but again, not too bad. More RS logos in the back seat of the car for the rear passengers, just so that they know what you're driving as well. And then you have a pretty, ooh, I like how that projects, and then it doesn't push down once you push it open, so that's kind of nice. Very demure, very demure. We like that. The cup holders are very high quality. The whole entire vehicle feels like it's $120,000, which sometimes you get into these expensive cars and you can find that there are certain things about certain expensive cars. Like, for example, that Range Rover Carpathian edition that I reviewed a couple of weeks ago. That thing had a lot of weird things about it that did not feel like a $100,000 car. In the rear area, you do have a fix-a-flat kit, no spare tire on this thing, so 23-inch wheels on the interstates. Probably one of those things that you're going to want to invest in AAA so that you have additional coverage if you ever need it. In the back here, you do have a couple of different controls to raise and lower the vehicle. This thing does have standard adaptive sport air suspension, probably some of the best air suspension that has ever been in existence. Look how low that back end sinks down, making it a lot easier to load your rear groceries in. Also, with that black optic package we mentioned earlier, we also do have the black exhaust pipes coming out of the back here, black Audi badges, just looking absolutely phenomenal. Let's get another click on that lock and unlock button here, just because it just looks so good. Look at that. Look at that, baby. Oh my god. That just looks so, man, gosh, I don't want to sell Audis, but damn, this car is really nice. Coming into the inside of the car, more matte carbon fiber along the center part there, real leather on the top of the door card, real leather on the dashboard, no bubbles or divots or dimples or anything like that in the dash, which is very nice and very appreciated. The full panoramic sunroof, I need to turn this thing on. Full panoramic sunroof can be opened and closed just with the push of a single button, and you can move everything around where you need it to be. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the infotainment system in this car for a second. Some stuff that I like about Audi is the 12.3-inch touchscreen, wireless Apple CarPlay, and Android Auto. The dual screen setup rather than a full wraparound screen. I just really like this as opposed to the gluttony of screens that a lot of modern cars are plagued with. I think that this is a better solution overall. I like having things. I absolutely despise the haptic feedback. It just does not make sense. I also don't like that all of these controls for the seats, you have to go through this to raise and like lengthen or extend the seat. This is a little bit laborious. There should just be an option just to put that on the seat control. Audi Drive Select, you can go through a lot of different modes. Basically, these are going to be doing different things regarding the suspension height as well as the overall exhaust noise, and changing how the car is going to react in certain driving conditions. So dynamic is going to be like your sport mode, off-road, all-road, comfort. Basically, they're a little bit self-explanatory, but different modes for different things. And I also just really like how the infotainment system is set up. It's simple. It does feel a little bit dated compared to what BMW offers and how ours looks, in my opinion, as well as in Mercedes. I don't like that there isn't like a dial to control things. I like how Mercedes has the little mouse or touchpad that you can use to select things. So overall, infotainment, probably like an 8 or a 9 out of 10. Really not bad. I just wanted to mention a couple of the things that I don't like about it. Got our ventilated and heated seats. We can turn those off by the push of one button. I do kind of like the haptic feedback here, as you know, just it's nice to even just have a button for it. And then we've got the heated and ventilated seats on both sides. We can have both of them going at the same time, just like on a BMW. And there's a couple of other good things. You can very quickly turn the screen on and off just with a push of one button. I find that very helpful for nighttime driving, and so that you don't find yourself distracted whenever you're driving around in the dark. The RS button here on the steering wheel is very cool, very similar to how BMW has our M1 and M2 buttons. And then as far as other buttons here on the steering wheel, you do have adaptive cruise control, which is standard on the RSQ8, which I find very welcoming and very helpful for a day-to-day daily driver sort of situation. Yeah, that is basically everything. The center stack here is a very customizable display, and you can quickly change what you want to show up here depending on your own preference, with controls that are easily accessible on the steering wheel. This car also does have got a gluttony of active safety features, so this thing will be able to do collision mitigation and lane departure warning, blind spot, all that good stuff. But we'll get into that a little bit more here in the driving portion. That is basically everything I have on the interior for now, though. So I'm going to go ahead and put you guys up here and then put another version of you guys right here, and we're going to take this thing on a bit of a quick spin. All right, so in the cabin of the 2024 Audi RSQ8, you are in probably one of the best cabins in the entire automotive industry. This thing is just absolutely it just is buttery smooth whenever you're taking it around corners, whenever you're driving quick, whenever you're driving slow. It's just a quick but still supple and smooth luxury SUV. This thing, like luxury sports SUV, mind you, because it still sounds like that. Oh my god. And is capable of doing 0 to 60 in like 3.4 seconds. And the brakes are strong. You're not going to want to take this thing on the track because it is a hefty boy. Overall, this car is just, it's a fun car. It's a really fun car, but it is expensive, and it is a what's the word that I'm looking for? It is a statement. The car basically definitely has a presence. Whenever you're driving around, people know what this thing is. They know where they're looking. I would argue that it probably makes more of a statement than the GLS 63, just due to the overall color of it. The way that it's styled is just a little bit more luxurious and a little bit more standoffish, I would say, than either the BMW or the Mercedes. It doesn't sound as good as the Mercedes, and it doesn't perform as good as the BMW though. This thing in the corners, it feels hefty, and it's also not quite as fast. You know, the BMW X6M has 617 horsepower, as opposed to this thing only bringing in a measly 591. It's also not as quick. The BMW X6M does 0 to 60 in like 3.1, 3.2, versus this thing is, probably like around like the higher threes, mid threes, give or take. Basically just what Audi does with all of their cars. They make an excellent product that is kind of right in between what the BMW offering does and what the Mercedes offering does. Not quite as sporty, not quite as luxurious, just kind of right in the middle. And I think that's an okay thing for I think that is an okay place for this thing to exist in. There's a market for it. There's a reason why this car exists as it does. The only thing that I wish is that it had a little bit more noise from the exhaust. It's a little bit kind of quiet and a little bit subdued. Possibly with the performance version for the 25 model year, it's gonna have a little bit more of that kind of oomph to it, a little bit more pops and cracks and burbles. The exhaust doesn't really crack and pop too much whenever you're downshifting. It's got the four-wheel steering. The four-wheel steering is so good. And then whenever you kick this thing out of dynamic mode, that is really where the car starts to shine. Click over to our little touchscreen here that again is very easy to use and monitor and do all of the things that you need to do. We're going to kick this back into auto. The suspension is going to raise, and then all of a sudden the car is a little bit quieter, a little bit more kind of subdued again. But that the differential, whenever you're using that thing to cut and dive into corners, it definitely helps it lock up pretty freaking quick. This thing doesn't squat down like crazy. It's definitely kind of trying to sit right between that like luxury and performance segment, and it's doing an excellent job at it. I do think that you should probably, granted I haven't driven the 25, but if you could save, give or take, probably 20 grand, I think you should definitely at least give driving a used RSQ8 a 2024 a shot before you go ahead and jump out and spend 140, 150 grand on a brand new 2025 performance model. This is a hell of a car. Definitely met all of my expectations of what I was really hoping that this thing would be, and definitely would give this thing a good rating, and would love to drive it again as the future ones come out. The oversteer is very happy. This thing feels very balanced, I would say. It just kind of grabs with all four wheels with a slight bias to the rear. Just enough oversteer. Hell of a freaking car though. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you guys enjoyed it, please do consider subscribing, and I will look forward to seeing you guys back again in the next video. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Deuces. Also, last thing I do want to mention, the 360 camera and the remote control parking are both still features on the 2024 models. I know it's an awkward spot to add it right here at the very, very end of the video, but the 3D rendering is really good. I like how it works. It just this is one thing that Audi does probably better than BMW. Not probably, in my opinion, I think a little bit better than BMW. I like their 3D rendering quite a bit, and it does a very good job at kind of understanding and seeing where the car's at. You've also got interior monitoring. If you were worried about that, you can check it out on the Audi app, which does not give you a free trial like BMW does. Yeah, okay, now video's done for real. Enjoy the exhaust clips at the end of this video. Deuces.